Michael Schumacher was a famous race car driver who won 7 big championships. Everyone knows his name because he was so good at racing. He won 2 championships with a team called Benetton and 5 with another team called Ferrari. Many people think he could have done even more amazing things in racing because he knew so much about cars and driving. But then something really bad happened to him in the mountains in France. This accident took away his beautiful life, and it hurt his whole family too. Even though Michael is still alive today, the news from people close to his family, including his brother Rolf, is not very good. It's very likely that we will never see Michael the way he used to be again. December 29th this year will be 10 years since Michael Schumacher's terrible accident happened in the French mountains. He was just having fun skiing with his son Mick, who was 14 years old at the time. In just one quick moment, Michael fell down and hit his head really hard on a big rock. Even though he was wearing a helmet to protect his head, the hit was so powerful that doctors had to put him in a special deep sleep for 250 days. The weird thing is that Michael was able to walk around right after he fell, and he just felt a little shaky. But then he started feeling much worse, so they had to rush him to the closest hospital in a place called Grenoble. After they brought Michael to the hospital in Grenoble, doctors did surgery on him right away. Then they had to do another surgery during the night. A German news station called Bild said that Michael was getting much worse. The doctors even had to drill holes in his skull to take pressure off his brain. All of this meant the Schumacher family had to make a really hard choice that no family wants to make. They had to let the doctors put Michael in a special deep sleep, and he had to stay that way for 250 days. The fact that his family and everyone around the world didn't know if he would live after those 250 days shows just how badly his brain was hurt. But when Michael finally woke up, it became clear that his life would be really different, so different, that you wouldn't want this to happen to anyone, not even someone you really don't like. He can't talk or move around, and the only thing Michael still has as a person is that he can feel things. But even that seems like it might be hard for him because he can't show his feelings or tell anyone what he's thinking. After staying in the hospital in Grenoble, Michael was moved to his house in Switzerland. He has been getting better there. Ever since September 2014, his family asked everyone in the news to please leave them alone and give them privacy. They don't let any photographers or reporters come to their house, but there's a small group of people who are allowed to visit Michael. These people sometimes share information about how Michael is doing, but only if his family says it's okay. This is something that I think every person in the world wants to know more about. The most recent news has been shared by his brother Rolf Schumacher. Rolf was lucky enough to race cars with Michael, and he's 7 years younger than Michael. Rolf used to drive for teams called Toyota and Williams. When Rolf talked about how Michael is doing now, the news he shared was really sad and made people feel emotional. Rolf said, "I can tell you that his accident was a really bad and scary experience for me, but of course it was even worse for his kids. Mick, as we all know, was there as a young teenager when it happened. Unfortunately, life isn't always fair, and unfortunately there was a lot of bad luck here too. Michael isn't just my brother when we were kids, he was also my teacher and guide. He taught me everything about go-kart racing. There might be 7 years between our ages, but he was always right there with me. We raced together. We practiced passing other drivers, and everything that's important in car racing. He shared everything he learned in those 7 years. I was lucky enough to learn from the very best. I miss my Michael from back then. Life is sometimes fair. Michael had often been lucky in his life, but then this terrible accident happened. Thankfully, today's medical treatments have made it possible to do some things, but still nothing is like it used to be. Obviously, the fact that Schumacher's family wants to keep everything private means that news reporters can't learn more about how he's doing. They can't find out things like whether he can move his arms and legs when his brain tells him to, or if he can do different kinds of movements. But even so, what Rolf said makes it pretty clear that not much has changed in Michael's condition. Rolf isn't the only person who has told us about Michael's health. His old teammate Johnny Herbert, who raced with Michael on the Benetton team during the 1990s, said that it would be wonderful to have Michael back, but he thinks the chances of that happening are getting smaller every day. Herbert also talked about the huge empty space that Schumacher left in his son's racing life as a teacher and guide, and also his presence in the sport. When Johnny talked about this even more, he said, "Mick has said he could always talk to Michael about racing before the accident. Michael would have been a huge help, and that father and son relationship would have been a really good thing for Mick. But Mick never had that, unfortunately. He just had that relationship up until the skiing accident." Michael Schumacher had a very special friendship with his former manager Jean Todt. Jean also opened up about how Michael is doing now. He said that Michael is simply not the Michael he used to be. He is different. All of these short interviews are telling us that the family is happy with the privacy that they've been getting over the past couple of years. But even so, nothing would bring the same old Michael back, even though there have been news stories about very interesting ways of trying to wake up Michael's brain, like taking him for rides in a Mercedes car. According to Bild, the 7-time world champion has been put in a Mercedes-AMG GT 4-door car to try and wake up his brain. This is a technique that doctors often use in medicine to try and get a good response from the brain in patients who have been badly hurt. Every little detail matters, and whether or not this had a good effect on Schumacher's health, only time will tell, but it's still something that we should expect to happen more often in the future because Michael's brain will get excited by sounds that he knows. Michael is currently being watched over by 15 doctors, nurses and helpers so they can give him the best 24-hour care he could possibly get. His wife Corinna has strict rules about who is allowed to visit their care home. According to his wife, she is now living her everyday life exactly like how Michael would have wanted from every statement that we've heard so far. Things are not looking very good for Michael's long-term health. Some good news is coming for Formula One fans because they will be able to watch a rare look into the F1 legend's life in a new documentary next month. This will show how he made his way up into the fanciest form of car racing. Whether or not details about the skiing accident will be included is still unknown. With all the privacy that the family has asked for, it's very unrealistic for us to expect to see and learn more about what happened after the accident, as well as how Michael is doing every day. But we must not forget the fact that this is a very private matter and the family's needs must be respected. Michael has also left a huge empty space in Formula One with his knowledge because from 2010 to 2013, it was mostly thanks to his skills that Mercedes managed to get on top of the turbo hybrid era. Right when he was replaced by Hamilton, the British driver went on to win 6 championships with the team from Brackley. This is something that has been talked about by Johnny Herbert. He went on to say that the empty space Schumacher left in Formula One is really there, but it's nowhere near as big as the empty space that his family is feeling right now after having to see him in that condition every day. Talking about this matter even more, Herbert said, "There has been a huge empty space left since Schumacher's crash. When the accident happened, it was a big shock for everybody. He had been such a regular person around the racetrack for so long, getting all those wins and championships. He was greatly respected by all the current drivers at the time, but probably by nearly all of the current drivers today too. If you asked them who was the driver they looked up to and watched when they were growing up, they would say Michael. Michael was the one who inspired them to chase their dream of getting into Formula One. A lot of drivers today still use the experience of watching him on the track to motivate them. Max is the obvious example. He has a very similar way of thinking, because his dad was a teammate back in 1994. I think even Joes has tried to teach a lot of what Michael was about as a driver and as a person, and in the way he helps his team and how he works within a team structure to get the best for himself. He is the only one who has used a lot of Michael's ways in his own life. Modern medicine can only do so much right now, and the hope that we might be looking at an improvement in Michael's overall health stays the same as it is right now. This situation is not looking very promising after all of the latest statements from Michael's family. But this is still a matter that will take even more time. And if we're able to see Michael back to a form we can recognize, the entire F1 world would be extremely grateful to all the people who made it happen in the first place.